Good evening. Thank you for your patience in waiting for us tonight. Sorry to get started a little late. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I get a motion to approve tonight's agenda? Megan, second Tom. Any questions?
Nope.
All in favor? 6-0. Okay, Mr. Poole, Superintendent's report.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to start off my superintendent's report by turning it over to Amelia, our student ex officio board member, for an update on the high school and high school athletics.
In advance of the 2023-24 school year, several groups have mobilizing their efforts and resources to prepare for the students' scheduling process. The guidance team has gone into all English classrooms, grade 9 through 11, to walk students through the initial course request process. The High School Media Club has produced an electives course video, which will be shown in home bases later this week and will be shared with parents and guardians as well. And finally, the Wildcat Pause is nearly ready to publish an issue that also promotes the many electives available to our students here at the high school. Tomorrow night is our showcase concert at the high school. Starting at 7 p.m., the Wind Ensemble, Jazz Band, and Vocal Express will be performing. Senior varsity soccer player Nick Nowak recently received All-State honors. Senior Ryan Herr was recently selected by the National Football Foundation and College Hall of Fame Suffolk County chapter as a member of the Golden 11 football team, representative of the top scholar athletes in the county. Congratulations, Ryan. Congratulations to student athlete Charles Pedersen for being named to Newsday's top 10 Fencers on Long Island list. A sophomore, Charles was noted for his handwork and patience on the strip as his greatest strengths. He went 30-4 last season.
Great. Thank you, Amelia. And not everybody may know, but we do have several combined athletic agreements with neighboring districts. One's gymnastics and the other is fencing. So congratulations. Thank you. Just a couple of building updates. Last week, 8th grade math students at the middle school got the opportunity to welcome an engineer into their classrooms for a fun and engaging design experience through the innovative program Engineers Teaching Algebra. And that is a program that brings the application of algebra into the real world. It brings it all to life with a professional in the classroom. Students at the middle school, right before break, also participated in the annual Radicals and Tory Assembly program, which provided students with hands-on, authentic experiences as they learned about the Second Continental Congress. After speeches and much debate, this year the Loyalists won at the 2022 Second Continental Congress. It was a little bit of a surprise. Great job by the students. This event, led by 7th grade social studies teachers Mrs. Danielle Seneca and Mr. Greg Schmidt, is a Shoreham-Wading River tradition. In fact, when Ms. Seneca asked the crowd, has any parents here been part of this when they were here? A parent stood up and said, yes, I was in this when I was here at the middle school, and it was great to have that back. We had a pause during the pandemic, but it was great to have that program back. Over at Wading River, this past Friday, 4th grader Ava Vargas became principal for a day at Wading River and learning about leadership and helping inspire her peers to make a positive difference in their community and world. In addition to her regular principal duties, she had the opportunity to meet with district office administrators, including myself. I have no doubt that if Ava decides to, she will be a fantastic principal. And over at Wading River as well, the Whittle Gym is out, looks very cool. It's got a space theme to it, astronauts, it's all set up. Students are out there enjoying it, so the great physical education experience for students over at Wading River. Over at Miller Avenue, the 2nd grade winter chorus concert, which was our last concert of the season, was a tremendous success. What a great job by all those students. About 150 students under the direction of music teacher Cara Verity entertained, and I was a full house at the high school for that concert for 2nd grade. But what a great job by those students. Lots of fun. And just before the break, the whole building enjoyed a special reading by Mrs. Smith of How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Students wore their pajamas, had a hot cocoa treat, compliments of the PTO, thank you PTO. And the Miller Avenue mascot Whiskers and the elf on the shelf were seen around the building spreading cheer. Finally, over at Miller Avenue, kindergarten registration does begin on January 23rd. Anybody listening can please spread that message. It is incredibly helpful to have all of our students registered in the spring, get the screening done, helpful for students, for class placements, for the summer program for early rise kindergartners. So spread the word. Let's see if we can get all of our kindergarten students registered over the next couple of months. Congratulations to our music students for Suffolk County Music Educator Association honors. Congratulations to 82 students. I think that might be a record from the Wading River School, the middle school, and the high school who were accepted into the 3 divisions of the Suffolk County Music Educators Association. Just a tremendous success. Congratulations to our students, our music educators, and families for that incredible accomplishment. On the agenda tonight, I want to start with a few things that are on there, a couple of donations. One is a SEPTA donation. Thank you, SEPTA. And on the agenda this evening, we are accepting a donation from SEPTA in the form of 6 grants that total $1,600 to our teachers for special programming. And I would like to thank SEPTA, Ms. Gossman, all of the leadership of SEPTA for their efforts for bringing these great opportunities to our students. The grants were awarded to teachers, and they include such programs such as for the Miller Avenue Rise program, a music and movement project, for 4th grade integrated co-taught classrooms, a brand new sets of decodable texts, high school art rise program, resources and supplies for a Ukraine project sunflower project, and over at the middle school for integrated co-taught teachers, standing student desks. So lots of great services and programs for our students, and a big thank you. And I know later on tonight the board will be accepting the resolution. We'll have a chance to thank them as well. Also on the agenda tonight is a donation from Commander Buddy Gangler, as you can see in front of us, for 2 handmade American flags. The flags are here this evening, and they are absolutely beautiful. Commander Buddy Gangler grew up in Shoreham and graduated in 1997 from Shoreham-Wading River High School. He went to West Point, was commissioned, deployed, part of Operation Iraqi Freedom. He served as a platoon leader, executive officer, and commander in the U.S. Army. He was awarded the Bronze Star for actions in multiple direct combat engagements with insurgents. And while on duty, he earned his MBA while he was deployed, and he was honorably discharged from the Army in 2005. And connected with that MBA, he was coming, but at the last minute, business pulled him away. So we will definitely have him come at a later meeting to be thanked in person. One of the flags will be housed here in the high school in the lobby, and another flag is going to be housed at the middle school. Thank Commander Gangler, and I do think he should add artist to his resume, because they really are beautiful pieces of artwork, and we'll accept his donation later on today, later on this evening as well. Tonight on the agenda as well, there is a resolution related to a LIPA pilot. I'll just explain that a little bit. The district has not received a pilot payment for a property located in the town of Riverhead due to us from LIPA for last year. The pilot payment is for approximately $300,000. District Council has been working to recover this payment. The resolution on the agenda this evening will allow council to represent the district if needed in court, should that need arise. And Alan, do you have the board docs? Do you have my notes? Thank you. Okay. Wait 1 second. Thanks, Alan. On the agenda as well is the rescinding of the North Shore Youth Council lease. You may recall several months ago, the Board of Education approved a lease agreement with the North Shore Youth Council to provide them space to provide much-needed mental health services to our local youth. The North Shore Youth Council is a trusted partner and already provides before and after school care for students, as well as wraparound counseling services for families and students at our schools. The plan was to make it easier for families to access mental health services, support our students' mental health, and to have the Briarcliff building occupied. However, after approving the lease, the district received notice from the village challenging the district's right to lease the building. The district did rebut that challenge, and I want to make it clear that the district absolutely has the right to lease the building to the North Shore Youth Council for this purpose. However, given legal fees that would now be involved to move forward with the lease, and in consultation with the North Shore Youth Council, who does not want to occupy the building under the current circumstances, opposition from the village. Tonight, unfortunately, on the agenda is a resolution to rescind the lease. Please note, we will continue to collaborate with the North Shore Youth Council in efforts to collaborate with them in supporting mental health in our community. Finally, on the agenda tonight, Briarcliff, there are 2 appraisals on the agenda for 2 appraisals at Briarcliff. Several years ago, the district hosted a number of public forums and a community roundtable to discuss the future of Briarcliff. At the end of those meetings, the decision was made to sell or lease the Briarcliff building. The district, after going out for an RFP for a realtor service, put Briarcliff on the market. Those efforts were unsuccessful. 2 years ago, the building was used, as we know, to support the opening of schools for all children while meeting the mandates of New York State in regards to the pandemic. But it is time to consider the future of Briarcliff again, and that process does begin with an appraisal. So the building does carry ongoing costs to maintain that are not tenable into the future. So we'll have those appraisals, and then a next step may be in the near future to reschedule and continue or restart a public discussion during a public meeting to invite public feedback again on the future of the building. And just, there are 2 presentations tonight, one from Mr. Hayward, an enrollment update, and one from Mr. Esposito and Ms. Nitti on district's instructional technology program. And thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Poole. Okay, so we'll go right into reports and reviews. The information technology update is first, I believe. Okay.
All right, so while it gets prepared and gets put up on a display, first I want to thank the Board of Education for this opportunity once again to make this presentation update on the information technology for the district. It's been several years since I've had this opportunity to do so. So we've done and completed quite a bit of work, and I'm really very happy to go through that list today. It is 3 years worth of work, so it's quite extensive. I want to apologize ahead of time. It's going to read more like a list and not so much more informative like normally would do. I'm going to present on the last 3 years of IT work, infrastructure work, and devices for students, so forth. And then Cassandra Nitti, the new coordinator of district data systems and security, is going to do several slides at the end that really focuses on the data security for the district. So, Ricky, I know you told me up is down, but I think I have this upside down. So here we go. Okay, I do have it upside down. Maybe not. Is it not on? Sorry. Here we go. Director of Technology, thank you. Okay.
It's okay, we were thinking.
And on a note of that, I was telling Ricky about my first time I did a presentation here, and the same exact thing happened to me. I had to stop and start all over again, so what comes around here. So again, just going to do an overview of our technology planning implementation since the 2019-20 school year. Going to focus on staff and student instructional devices, and just give a larger update on the network and IT projects that have taken place and that are going to be planned moving forward. All right, so back 2019, 2020, we purchased 850 Chromebooks. Actually, we financed those and we acquired those through BOCES. Those were deployed at the high school. We also went ahead and purchased the Macintosh computers for the Mac Lab upstairs at the high school. This is when the pandemic hit. We reached out, we purchased actually another 600 Chromebooks. Those were enrolled and sanitized and ready for disbursement in a couple of days, and we distributed those to the households on school buses to get them in the hands of the students. We purchased 100 projectors, using the Smart Schools bond money to replenish the projectors that were in the district that needed to be replaced. We completed the installation of about 170 smart boards, so that was 70 new projectors. The 100 was to replace the ones that would be phasing out over the next several years. We also went out to bid for the Smart Schools Bond Act on new network switches for the district. We used a local vendor, Switch Technologies. They did an absolutely fantastic job deploying those 60 switches. Very nice, very neat. It was an absolute pleasure to work with and haven't had any problems since that installation. The summer of 2020-21, this was once again a busy summer. We completed the installation of those switches over the summer. All new 1 gig 48 port PoE switches everywhere. That gave us the ability to put cameras wherever we wanted in the district. Prior to that, if we wanted to put cameras in certain locations, we were prohibited because the switches didn't have the ability to do that. We increased our primary internet service here at the high school from 500 megabytes to 1 gigabyte. We purchased and began replacement of all the 500 plus PCs district-wide. We went up to Windows 10. That rollout, once we received them, it took upwards of a year to deploy all those PCs. We went into our first purchase of the 75-inch interactive displays that were in classrooms. Those were 35 panels that were actually put over to Briarcliff for opening in Briarcliff and the other instructional spaces that were created in the other buildings. Purchased 40 Xerox printers to make those instructional spaces happen as well. That summer, Briarcliff at that point was basically gutted from all the IT work, and there really was nothing left there. So we had to go back and redo all the cabling, add the access points, add the wireless network, install the phone system, put all the printers in, put the photocopies back, put the printers back, put all the PCs back, put the interactive panels back, or in for the first time actually, and get all those instructional spaces up and running. Similar to the high school, just not in middle school and the other elementary buildings, not as extensive, really just moving equipment around to get those instructional spaces working, figuring out a way to, the larger spaces that we created, getting 2 smart boards to work off of 1 PC so that the spacing for the students worked and they can see the instruction taking place. The rest of the 2021 school year, again, we continued that rollout of the 500 PCs. For the first time, we distributed Chromebooks to the aides and assistants to help in instruction. We purchased 60 Dell mobile workstations. What those really are, really high-powered, high-end laptops. Those were used for the high school technology education department, so they could handle the 3D modeling and that type of software that was taking place and that was needed. We purchased another 260 Chromebooks. We updated our virtual stack. That was some of our network at that network work that took place. 6 brand new servers in there. If you just a little note down there, the original 2012 technology proposition was when we did our first move into virtualization. That was just 2 servers. This, since it had grown, when 10 years ago there was 12 physical servers here. We now have these 6 servers operating over 60 plus servers on it. So just to give you an idea of the scale that it has grown and the services that we're using. Another 10 interactive panels were purchased and deployed throughout the district. Another 360 Chromebooks, this to support the one-to-one that we were managing, and it was to replenish some of the older Chromebooks that were originally purchased. Installed 4 interactive panels up in the academic center up behind us. These are a little bit different. They're a little bit smaller. They also have integrated PCs in them, so they're really a standalone unit. All you need is a wireless keyboard and mouse, and you're on the network, and you can do anything you could if you're at your PC at your desk. We ordered equipment to upgrade our wireless network district-wide using the Smart Schools bond money. We still have not received that equipment. It is a supply chain issue. It's a chip issue. It's slowly coming in, pieces and parcels of it finally, but we still don't have a true ETA on all the equipment so we can actually start the installation of this. So we just kind of wait and see as that eases up. We upgraded our Unitrends backup appliances. We had initially started with an 18 terabyte service, 1 in each building in the high school and middle school. We're backing up more data. We're backing up more infrastructure on it as well. So that's 32 terabytes, and we recently just added a cloud version so we have an off-site copy of this In the past, Rob and I would end the day taking the tapes out of the tape drive, driving over to the middle school, put it into a little safe, so if something happened, we would have a backup over there. We no longer have to do that. It's put up in the cloud, and it's as we said before and earlier, it's air-gapped, so it's not on our network. 2021, 2022, we started MFA. We rolled out 110 of the MFA dongles to the administrative team, along with clerical support, guidance, some healthcare staff, anyone who's really had privilege to PI. So we started that, and that went very smoothly. We upgraded, installed 2 new switches, 2 new firewalls and 4 switches in the high school and middle school NOC. That was actually a pretty big project that brought us up to a very good stance cybersecurity-wise. We received another 750 Chromebooks that have to be, just unboxed, provisioned, set up for the students, inventoried. Like it's a big process. And that was done. It's done over the summer. We used one of the CLAs, some interns to do that, but that's several weeks worth of work just to get them ready for the students. Again, financed through BOCES, and I'll put in a little BOCES note there just to kind of show a timeline that we've been purchasing Chromebooks for the last 5 or 6 years, and it started off with small purchases. We spread it to the middle school, then to the high school, then it was a quick jump for the rest of the elementary buildings. But what we've been working on is really to come up with a good number in the budget that we can support each year that will put us in a really nice place as far as replenishment cycle goes. We currently have about 2,800 Chromebooks that are in inventory, 2,100 out to students, 500 or so out to staff, and the rest are spares in each building to keep that cycle going when we have damage. So the goal is to basically replace 700 or so every year, and to have that finance, built into it. So after 4 years, that number we can just we'll keep in the budget and roll forward. So we're almost there. We're on our 3rd one right now. Next year will be the 4th one. We deployed Informacast on the VoIP system on the phone. That was quite a challenge, I have to say. That was a very difficult thing to traverse and get to work over our segmented network. But now at least we have the ability, the principals have a number that they could pick up, hit that number, and then do a voice message over the speakers on the phones into every classroom. We upgraded our internet service at the middle school from, actually it was only 300 megabytes up to 1 gigabyte. So we have, if we want to, 2 gigabytes if we wanted to combine them, but it really is, it's 1 gigabyte in each side, so if one side fails over, we will always have 1 gigabyte available to us, which is more than enough to suffice what we're doing, and support Chromebook and computer-based testing and so forth going forward. So overall, in a very good stance with our bandwidth. We began the Microsoft Exchange server upgrade, going from Exchange 2016s to Exchange 365. We started that at the end of the summer. We're just nearing the end of that right now. It's just a difficult thing to do while we're continuing business here. So we're not shutting anything down. We're trying to keep everything running and updated all at the same time. Halfway through that upgrade, we found out we had to upgrade our VoIP system software to make everything work, so we had to stop, work on that, get it to work, and go back to 365. We're upgrading our spam filter and email archive. We use a Barracuda system for that. We're actually moving that over to the cloud, and that's work that's currently taking place. We ordered an additional 300 fobs. So those fobs went out to all the teaching staff at this point. So we've turned on the high school. We turned on the elementary buildings this morning. That went pretty well, and tomorrow will be the middle school, and that'll complete that for that, the MFAs for this year. Again, still waiting those Aruba products. As far as some little bit of IC work right there, we created 6 new elementary report cards at over the summer from the beginning of the school year to get that up and running for the first trimester. And we're working on the Infant Campus online registration module. It's near completion. We have a couple of days worth of work with a representative from Infinite Campus to get that up and running. So we're hoping to have that in place so we can do online registration shortly. And some work that we have planned that we haven't done, that we'd like to get done before the end of the year. We did an initial foray into segmentation of the network. We're going to go a little bit step further and do some further micro-segmentation of the network. We're working on the encryption of the data of Envision and the cafe server. We looking to refresh the admin and security VPN laptops. So we're looking to purchase some laptops currently for the middle school technology ed program. Those need to be updated. And then just have a more robust laptop for the admins that need VPN laptop to do work, as far as, and security personnel that have a laptop assigned to them. We just purchased 50 more iPads for the Miller Avenue Elementary building. That building currently has 100 in them. They're old, they're not taking updates anymore, so we're gonna pull back that 100 and put 50 back in. After speaking with Claudia, we figured that, we came up with that as a good number to provide what they need over at the elementary building. 50 will suffice. And the next big job that has to get done would be to replace the district core switches at the high school and middle school. It was something that was slated to do in my 5-year plan, not next year, but at the beginning of the following year. But really what that's going to cause is you have to go back to 2012. The technology proposition put us a long way, and we replenished and built a lot of the infrastructure. The Smart Schools Bond Act money then came into play, and we were able to, once again, do some refreshment using that money and build up our infrastructure. This is the next and final piece, and this is the one piece that was not part of the tech proposition, and it's not part of the Smart Schools Bond Act money. So moving forward, I could just have to develop my 5-year plan once again, and we really have to kind of plan forward how the next 5 years, how we're going to fund those replacements going forward. And just a quick glance at our portable devices, I'm going to call them. You can see iPads are the little teeny blue dots, the laptops are the orange dots, and then you can see Chromebooks are the gray dots. So, the first year, let's say that 1920 is when we were planning on going to the high school, then had to jump into the elementary 600 buildings. That's why that's kind of high. But then you can see we've purchased a couple of lots. We financed the 750. There's another finance of 700 coming. But we currently have a little over 2,800 Chromebooks in stock right now here. So now it's my chance to hand this off to Cassandra, who's going to do a quick update on data security at this point. But would you like to ask questions now, or are there any questions?
I have a quick question. Mr. Where are you looking? I'm over here.
I hear you in my left ear.
Sorry. The broadcasting messaging system, is that accessible from any receiver? So is that something that can be, a classroom teacher can pick up the phone and broadcast if they need to?
Yes. If they had the code, if you have that code number, let's say there's a code number, a PIN number for each building. So right now the principal has it and is testing it. If that number was shared, whoever had that PIN could access that number, but they would have to have their PIN number and broadcast the message. So the system has the ability to do that. And then we have one number that is district-wide. So if Mr. Poole wanted to or needed to broadcast the message to all the classrooms, we have that ability as well.
Thank you.
Okay, you ready?
Which one's up? Okay, so I'm just going to talk about some of the data privacy and data security updates that we've been working on. So as Mr. Esposito said, multi-factor authentication has been distributed to all teaching staff. It's been turned on in the high school. Today it was turned on in both elementary schools, and tomorrow it'll be turned on for the middle school. So far, it's been pretty seamless. A few hiccups here and there, but overall it's very simple to use, and we have a great system in place. We are continuing our phishing campaigns with the Know Before platform. So our average phish-prone percentage is currently at 2.3%. Our last phishing campaign showed a 1.5% phish-prone percentage, but the industry standard is 5.4. So we're doing really well, especially compared to where we were when we first started, about industry standard when we started the Know Before platform. We're continuing to provide awareness training for staff who click on links in phishing emails. 90% of data breaches occur because of human error and clicking emails, allowing access. So when people do click on those emails, we're providing them with training. We're also working on migrating over to Microsoft 365 to increase our email security, and this is going to provide us the ability to use our MFA fobs to access email as well. We have also deployed email encryption for external emails containing PII through the use of Zix. And we're continuing to highlight incoming external emails. So if someone internal receives an email from someone outside of the network, they'll have a bright yellow banner, just giving them that warning and letting them know it's from someone outside of the district. For the NIST cybersecurity framework, we are currently partnering with Eastern Suffolk BOCES DPO service to continue to strengthen our cybersecurity infrastructure, and DPO is Data Protection Officer. This includes scans of our outward-facing ports to identify any vulnerabilities. We just had one over the break from BOCES, and they were able to provide us with some areas where we needed to just make some adjustments, and we were able to do that. We've also reached out to the Department of Homeland Security to perform their vulnerability scan, and we're currently in the process of setting that up. And then we are revisiting district policies to ensure compliance with New York State Ed Law 2D. So I will be working with Eastern Suffolk BOCES and their, specifically within their DPO service, to help review some NISBA board policies, as well as what Eastern Suffolk BOCES is using to make sure that we have that language, and we're working on updating those as well. And then just some ongoing data security projects. So we have been implementing new procedures for new account creations, changes to existing accounts, and deactivation accounts, really tightening up our account security. We have a continuous review of staff permissions and rights in our student management system. We are working on the development and implementation of cybersecurity drills and cybersecurity tabletop exercises, which we're hoping to start after February break in a small scale and then really vamp them up for next year. We are providing staff training at faculty meetings. And then we are currently working on developing a plan for IT staff certification courses to strengthen our cybersecurity knowledge and to make sure that the IT department has those credentials. So that's it. Any questions?
I just had a question with regard to the vulnerability scan. Is that our first time opting into that, and is it an optional sort of service provided by the Department of Homeland Security?
The Homeland Security one, have we received that one before?
We received the paperwork for that right now, so I reviewed it with my team, and they offer about 8 different places where they would scan, external and internal.
Mm-hmm.
I actually just forwarded some of that information to Mr. Meinster, Mr. Poole, to kind of review that. I'm assuming that it is quite legal in how much you can let Homeland Security come in there, so it's going to take a little bit of review to get that going. But we are using BOCES to scan our outside-facing ports right now, and CSDNet also does that as well. So this would be a third opportunity to do that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
The only other question I had was with regard to the budget and the 5-year plan. Is that something that the board and the public is going to see reflective in this current year's budget, or would that 5-year plan be executed beginning the following year?
No, so Mr. Poole asked me to develop a 5-year plan some time ago. So I say a 5-year plan. I always have a 5-year plan going.
Okay.
It just, I'm constantly adding all of our purchases, the dates, and then I actually have a model that I use that will project out the anticipated costs for that replacement, and it also calculates how long I think that those devices would last. Like if Chromebooks, I can tell you it's going to, we're doing a 4-year lookout. I can tell you what it's going to cost every year. Some things will last 7 years, some things will last 6 years. So as I build that out, the model's looking at the year I think things will need to be replaced, the current cost for that, and then I just have a budget total for the upcoming years of what I think the expenditure would be IT-related as far as infrastructure and devices.
Okay,
So
great.
it's a constant, constantly changing, and I have to, I got to give a little shout out to my son, who's an actuary, who helped me build a model. So I can't take credit for how it works. I have to give him credit. I don't know if he's watching, but Eric, there you go.
But, Mr. Esposito, we're fairly well on track, you know, as that plan gets updated and recycled. We're in a good spot in relation to that plan that was developed years
We're in a
back.
very good spot, yes. Yes.
Okay. Do we have any other questions? No? Well, thank you both for coming. It's been a couple years, as you had said, and so there's been, this is reflective of a lot of work that has been ongoing, and it's great to have the public and the board up to speed on just all the magic that's happening behind the scenes that allows us to continue in such a strong pathway. So thank you very much for all the work you do.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Mr. Brian Hayward presenting an enrollment and class size update.
Okay, good evening. What I want to do this evening is to first figure out how to do this. Okay, is to go over the enrollment at our elementaries and then our secondary schools. The way I wanted to do that was first by looking at Miller Avenue. If you can look, the first column, we have the current enrollments with kindergarten at 135 general education students. This does not include any of the self-contained special education class students. So that's why you have 135, 123 at first grade, and 145 at second grade. Looking forward to next year, what we did is we took the first 5 years, or the last 5 years of kindergarten enrollment, averaged them out, we get around 135 again. So that's the number we're going to use to project forward. So looking at these numbers, kindergarten remains the same, first grade remains the same, and we have one decrease in the second grade section. So it's going from a total of 20 classrooms to 19 for next year. And we also have a contingent budget. We know that happened several years ago where we got an unexpected amount of kindergarten enrollments. So we do have a contingent budget that will, position that will be in the budget for that.
That would allow for music to have a room.
Yeah, just a quick question. You mentioned first grade staying the same, but there's a 12 student increase, but we're going to keep six sections when we had 7 sections for kindergarten?
Typically what we've done is try to keep the kindergarten lower than the lowest of all the grades.
Okay, the entire building was below 20 or at 20.
That's certainly a choice as we draft the budget. This is an update to the board if there's a desire to go down, add a section in first grade that would keep music in the library for next year, and not leave any other available space in the building. But certainly a decision the board can make as we draft, and budget season's coming up. Certainly a decision that the board can make.
Yeah, I think to add to that request, Mr. Poole, why don't we look at how the kindergartners are doing, because they'll rise, right? The 135 will be that size class for 23, 24. Can we see how they're progressing?
Yes,
So the
absolutely.
kindergarten going into
we
one,
have a,
so back to Mr. Lewis's question.
we have regular reviews of student progress. In fact, we had a data meeting today on K-2 students with Mrs. Smith. Great job, Mrs. Smith, on the programs and services in place and how our students are doing for that. Should we get a higher kindergarten enrollment amount, then you wouldn't have the option of adding a section to first grade. It just depends on how registration
Okay.
plays out.
And when we say it doesn't include inclusion, so does
No,
inclusion,
No,
Self-contained,
self-contained
excuse me. Got it,
special
thank you.
education
Okay.
students.
I was confused.
Because they don't have any effect on the class size because they're not part of these classes.
Totally with you. Thank you, Ryan.
The next school is Wading River. As you can see, we have the current for 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. We do see a big increase in the incoming 3rd grade from the current 3rd grade. So it's an additional 2 sections. a slight decrease or decrease from, for the fourth grade, which is a reduction in one section, and then the fifth grade would remain consistent, for an overall of an additional classroom of 18, going from 17. And these numbers, are actually carrying over the numbers from the previous grades. There's no projections in that. Okay, any questions with Wading River? Okay, then I wanted to just do a quick look at the secondary enrollment for this sixth grade, the sixth, seventh, and eighth grade. A decrease between this year and next year of 23 students at the middle school, and then a decrease of 53 students at the high school. And you can say I broke it down by grade there.
Big difference. At the high school level, Mr. Poole, when we're doing budget planning, I'd love to see what's gonna happen with some of the electives. I know we try and keep a very robust program, but I'm curious, when you lose 53 students, I know it's mostly in the 12th grade, it looks like it'll come down, you'll lose 40 almost. So it's gonna
Yeah.
eventually, go ahead.
And
It's
thank you.
gonna
The model,
eventually
really the
impact
model for
programming.
scheduling at the high school is based on student interest, so students will select, they'll select their electives and some backup electives. Amelia could probably talk a little more about this. And then hopefully, I do believe right now at the high school, 95% of students get everything that they put in for their first option. But as we move forward, if 4 students select elective A and 16 select elective B, elective A may not run because of numbers. It'll stay in the course catalog for the next, for the next year, but it may not run. The elective B might run. Those 4 students may have to go to their backup choice. It's a very rich elective catalog, but I think over time, certainly enrollment will impact student selection and registration for electives, and then not because we're intentionally limiting electives, it's just enrollment's going to start to not fill up electives that might have normally run this year. I think Mr. Hay was going to show in a few slides, some projections that where enrollment could go at the high school into the future, and what it looks like in the high school in many, many years out, if kindergarten continues to average around 135 in the school district.
So going back to Mr. Poole, so when we think about the high school, is there a go, no-go decision? What level of class enrollment do you need to run an elective? Do you choose, if it's 6, you run it, if it's 4, you don't? What has been the criteria to run an elective or not?
We're likely not to run an elective at 6. I think there are some variables that come into play, like if it's upperclassmen, but the number's typically over 10, 10 to 15 that we try to run it. It's hard to run an elective at 12 when there's other electives running at 10. But as I said, 95% of students, the last several years have gotten the courses that they want. I expect that hopefully largely to continue.
Thank you.
Okay, the next slide, as I went out for 5 years, and these are using, again, the rollover numbers, so these aren't projected numbers, for the middle school and high school. So I broke it down by grade, where you can see the green are the increases from one grade, 1 year to the next.
I'm sorry, Mr. Taylor, that is an important note.
What was
These numbers these are not projections. These are these numbers reflect students in current grades K through 5 right now, moving through the system. So these are actual cohort numbers moving through the system. Sorry, Mr.
No,
Hayward.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so as you can see, at the high school, where the lower enrollments are going to be passing through, you'll see the effect it'll have, going from currently 707 students
Yep.
to, 2027, 28. Again, each year you go out, the more challenging it is to actually get those numbers, down to around 576, which would be a decrease of 131 students within the next 5 years. Just with we knew this bubble, or dip, I should say, was coming through. Whereas if you look at the middle school, it's a little bit more stable over those same years. It's still decreasing slightly, but it's remaining more stable.
Just a quick question. I'm not sure that we have Mark here, but what does that what does that do to our athletics? Do we drop in classes
Well,
and
we-
divisions everywhere?
We, a few years back, as part of strategic planning, we had a couple meetings about that, and the thought was, at least for the next 3 or 4 years, this is probably 3 years ago, that we could sustain our programs, given the numbers are. But we'll probably have to come back and take a look at that and see what that impact might be, because you're right, will be fewer kids available to take sports, and not every, students are less likely to be triple athletes now than they were perhaps in the past, and that will impact the athletic program down the road.
Yeah, I'd love to see numbers, Mr. Poole. Even if you look at 22, 23, look at the middle school, going from 455 next year to 432. That's a whole team. You're down 23 students just in 1 year. I'd just be curious to see what enrollment looks like in the different sports right now.
Sure, I can certainly
would
provide you an
appreciate
update on middle school athletic team numbers, for sure.
Thank you.
Yep.
How many of the teams in the middle school have double teams?
I want to say 4 or 5. Usually it's the winter
Baseball,
sports,
basketball.
basketball, baseball, volleyball, right? So there's,
Well, volleyball does
you know,
as well.
yeah,
I don't think
it's
baseball
4 or
does.
5, but I'll,
Baseball does.
yeah, I'll have to get that number back to you.
Baseball
You
Has
have two teams?
Yeah, yeah. I'll share that, along with those numbers, I'll
Okay,
share
thank you.
that, what we typically budget for 7 or 8 teams to be doubled up. We don't typically hit that number. It's maybe a little different every year, but I'll give you this year's numbers.
Thank you.
Sure.
And looking back at the middle school, something I just missed and I just caught, at 6th grade, it looks like you'll drop 33 in 1 year also in student enrollment for next year. Are there any forecasted staff changes at the 6th grade level for next year?
It would be a decrease of 1 FTE.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and moving on to the last slide, is looking at a multi-year district-wide enrollment. As you can see on the top right-hand side, all the numbers are gray. I use the number 140 because that's what we anticipate the incoming kindergartens to be, but this does include the self-contained special education students, because I wanted you to get the full picture of the actual enrollments at each of the grade levels in each of the buildings. So again, you can see going from around 1989 for this school year, and again, this is every year, like I said, every year you go further out, the less reliable the information is, but it looks like a decrease of 176 students, but by 31, 32.
So the real numbers at the high school and middle school are like 27 and 28, but that number kind of holds based on what you're projecting, right? So,
Yes,
yeah, right.
yeah, that
Okay.
would, those,
Those are actuals, and then
yeah, we
we'll
had some
probably-
fluctuation. I think, you know, we did take a look at cohorts over time over the last 10 or 12 years, and typically a kindergarten cohort in the past has grown by 20 to 30 students from students moving in to the school district, so we don't, you know, there's usually less movement from 6th grade up for parents moving into a school district on there, so that may change a little bit, but up to 27, 28 looks fairly accurate, give or take 10 students.
There was, Rob might remember, it was about 5 years ago, so it was before I was on the board. BOCES did like an analysis for us, right? And it was based on, I guess, multifaceted approach, you know, everything from
they
housing
did.
to everything.
Yeah, we do have that. I can certainly add that to the middle school athletic, take a look at it. I want to say, Mr. Hayward,
Yeah.
that projected 120 students per grade.
It
Yeah.
was,
Right. It was
yes.
low, right?
And it wasn't holding up. We did it several years. We used to do it every other year. We needed it for the bond, you know, for the bond work
It
and
was
things
wrong
like
the
that.
second year, right?
Right, and it wasn't holding up as far as, because they looked at the number of births in the county, the number of births, the number of houses for sale. One of the things that, why I didn't want to recommend doing again this year is because COVID played a large part with us being open, one of the few school districts being open every day. We saw increased enrollment that we weren't anticipating. So really, I don't know how they would even be able to look at that. So that's why I said, let's just go with the last 5 years of what we've had
Okay.
enrollment.
Is there another source that maybe we could reach out to or contemplate looking into, other than BOCES then? If we don't think that's an adequate, you know,
There may be a couple of vendors we could take a look that could do an enrollment projection, but they would use the same thing, probably home turnover, births at hospitals, you know,
Historical enrollment.
historical.
They usually go back 10
transiency,
years.
in the community, so that, I'm not sure they'd use different data, but there may be other vendors that do that work.
Yeah, I think
schools.
there's a couple decisions we'll have to make as a board, not just athletics and class sizes, but, you know, other things in the coming up.
Sure.
that I think it's data that we should at least try to find a separate source if there is one.
It sounds like the further we get from COVID, that data might become more accurate, so maybe within the next couple of years or so. But when you get the athletic data, can you just, I had mentioned this in a policy committee meeting, ask if Mark could possibly look into interest for the softball for middle school, so that if policy needs to be contemplated and potentially changed in order to allow for softball playing this spring. I don't know that we have enough middle school students, but if we do, great. If we don't, then that's been brought to my attention personally.
Sure.
I just want to follow up on that.
What is the question?
What is the interest of softball? Can we gauge the interest? Because it seems like we might not have a softball team for a softball team for middle school.
How do we gauge the interest?
Survey the students, ask the
okay.
students who's going to sign up for softball before it's too late, and then we don't fill then we
Criteria.
don't have enough days for practice time, to make any sort of change for this year, if a change is possible.
Yes, I can definitely
Thank you.
ask him.
And any other sports that I might not be aware of, I don't know. We still have, like you said, 3 doubles, possibly, but if there are any others that might have low interest where they couldn't run, I am curious to know that, too.
And Mr. Poole, that's not a hard line, right? If it falls below a number for 1 year, we'll keep a sport. Yes?
No, I would agree that if there's a year where no children wanted to play, say softball, for example, we would still budget for it and run softball to middle school the following year, if there was student interest to do it. So, and there are some years, I believe, at the high school where JV and varsity have combined, where they have one team and the JV students move up. So it works easier at the high school. If there's lower numbers in each of the grades that they can be combined, it's one team, but everybody gets a chance for it. But
Okay. Any other questions?
Generally good information, budget planning's coming up, I think there's a lot to look at here.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have votes and resolutions. Can I get a motion to approve the November 29th public meeting minutes? Rob, second Tom. Any discussion or questions? All in favor? 6-0. The December 13th minutes. Can I get a motion? Tom, second Megan. Any discussion or questions?
Nope.
All in favor? 6-0. December 15th, special public meeting minutes. Can I get a motion? Mike, do we have to be present, since that one's like not televised or whatever? Do we have to be present in order to get a motion or vote on it?
Typically, those who did not attend would abstain.
Abstain? Okay, so can I just get a motion from, well, Mike, we can take the motion, but in
can
terms
take
of
the
the
motion.
vote.
I was there.
Oh, I'm thinking of the other special meeting, I apologize.
Sorry.
Okay.
I mean,
The January 5th one. Okay, Mike, second. Tom? Any discussion or questions? All in favor?
I'm an abstention on that.
Okay. Henry is going to abstain, but can we get a motion to approve? I mean, who's in favor? Tom, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 4 abstain, 2, 0. Okay, can I get a motion to approve January 5th special public meeting minutes? Tom, second. Megan? Any discussion or questions? All in favor? We had,
No, I wasn't there, I'm sorry.
I
yeah,
was there.
okay, 4. It should be 4, and then 2 abstain,
No, 3.
3
So
abstain.
you can't get approved then.
Yeah, okay, so we're
I
gonna
don't
have
think
to,
that's, can we
It's
get
two
confirmation on that? Because me and Rob were talking about that. we've heard different,
I mean, if you watch the video, I mean,
But I don't think
Special
we have a
meetings don't-
video for that one.
oh,
You know what I mean? Like, there's
I'm
no,
talking about a regular meeting.
yeah, regular meeting
Yeah.
we can, I believe, right? The
Yeah, I would
regular
agree with
meeting
that.
every,
Regular video.
so you have to table it then.
Yeah, you
Mhm.
can vote, but like, so for the purpose of this, it would be 4 approved, 0 opposed, and 2 abstain,
So you have, we have
because
4?
Jim's not here.
No, because Jim's not here, because he was the fourth, right?
So we'll move
So
it
the
to.
vote would be.
Yeah, so we'd have to
So
leave. Yeah, so let's just hold it to the next
Okay.
one.
Table it.
Yeah, just table
Yes,
it.
three,
Okay.
so I'll have to table that one.
okay.
Oh, there were
Table.
3 opposed.
Only three
3
tonight.
abstain.
There's only 3 here. Jim's not here to
The
vote
fourth
on it.
member who wasn't.
That's why.
Oh,
Otherwise, it
understand
would
what you're
pass,
saying.
yeah.
Mm-hmm, okay, we'll remove this and postpone it to the next meeting.
That was the one I missed. It was like December
Okay.
15th.
Can I get a motion to approve November 22 Treasurer's Report?
You can go to one.
Tom,
No.
second. Rob, any discussion or question?
Nope.
All in favor? 6-0.
Voted.
You were there.
Yeah, I don't know why she's telling me he's absent. It looked like she had me as absent.
So that's 4. Tell Katie if you want to, you were there. He was at Thursday's meeting.
That's what I thought.
Jim?
You were there.
Yeah, I thought we
because
wanted
we had
15.
we had more than 4, we had 5 people present.
Let's
Okay.
Go back and.
Can we go
We
back?
can go back
Can we
and
go
vote
back?
on it.
Okay,
Looking at
so we
the
have Tom's
15th one.
motion and Meg's motion, and then we'll be able, can I get a vote? It should be 4. Yep, 4, Henry?
Yes.
Okay, and then 2 abstain
Yes.
and 0. Okay, thank you. Did the minutes need to be amended? Or are they, they reflected you were there? They were,
No, that's fine.
Okay, that's what I thought.
The 5th is
All right.
fine. That was Thursday afternoon.
Okay. Next, we have our Board of Education resolutions, and after we take these resolutions, we're just gonna all get up and do a quick photo with SEPTA, and then also with the flag, so,
Did you do the treasurer's report?
Mhm.
yep, I did it. Okay.
You-
You voted?
You did the
Yes.
treasurer's report? Oh, you did? I didn't see.
Yes.
We were still stuck on the other one. All right, is it okay to take these Board of Education resolutions as a block? Can I get a motion? Tom, second Mike. Any discussion or questions?
Nope.
All in favor? 6-0. Okay, I'd like to thank SEPTA on behalf of the Board of Education and thank you. For your generous donation, as well as Commander Gangler. And then we'll step up and get a photo.
Take a photo.
Are we all
Yeah, do you mind? We're gonna all get behind the flag so that we don't.
Okay, next we have the curriculum and instruction resolution. There's only one today, 133, the approval of the BOCES Chromebook lease agreement. Can I get a motion? Tom, second Henry. Any discussion or questions?
Nope.
All in favor? 6-0. For the human resources resolutions, there are two, 134, and, let's see, oh,
Actually,
just one, 134, and this is a section 77. Can I get a motion to vote? Tom, second. Megan? Any discussion or question? All in favor? 6-0. Thank you. One business and operation, several business and operations resolutions, 135 through 137. Is it okay to take these as a block?
Mhm.
Okay, can I get a motion to vote on these? Tom, second Henry. Any discussion or questions?
Nope.
All in favor? 6-0. Can I get a motion to vote on the personnel agenda? Tom, second Rob. Any discussion or questions?
No.
All in favor? 6-0. Is there any communications, Mrs. Mahoney? Okay. Can I get a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting?
Actually, I just
Oh,
have one discussion item I wanted to bring
yeah,
up.
absolutely.
So in tonight's high school report, Mr. Poole, it was good that Amelia gave us an update. It sounded like guidance is meeting with grades 9 through 11 to work with children on the students on their upcoming schedules. Something that as a parent I've recognized over the years that really is kind of underemphasized and is really an opportunity. The Beacon program with Suffolk Community College, maybe Mr. Meinster can just, for parents who are watching at home, I think this is, here's my, maybe I'm wrong with this interpretation. I originally thought it was only if you attend Suffolk Community College. My understanding now is if a student takes a class that's registered with that program, it also could count toward any college credit potentially. Am I right in that understanding?
Yeah, the Beacon program through Suffolk Community College provides dual enrollment opportunity for our students. So if they enroll in those courses, they get the high school credit for having completed the course, but they also get 3 credits or 4 credits, depending upon the course itself, from Suffolk Community that they can then take them with them. They'll get a transcript from Suffolk Community that they can use when they apply to colleges.
Yeah, so I just wanted to emphasize for parents at home, this is a really great program that if your student has the opportunity to take advantage of it when they're meeting with their guidance counselors, this is something that I think sometimes gets overlooked, potentially because of the, the Suffolk Community College tag that's with it. So some kids maybe just defer from even understanding what that's all about. Beyond our AP coursework, I think we have 19 AP classes that we offer at high school today, right?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to reemphasize for parents that are watching at home or for their students to remind them when they're looking at their scheduling coming up for this year, don't underestimate that program and what it can do for their future. So if you have any other comments.
I would just add, at a greatly reduced fee, Alan, there are probably how many courses around that are dual enrolled right now at the high school?
We have, it's probably upwards of 15 to 20.
So 15 to 20, 19 AP courses. I know in many students' cases, they leverage that to graduate a half a semester early,
100%.
get a double major, or
Yep.
get a major and a minor without a lot of stress when they're in college. So it's great to take advantage of. We'll take a look at, maybe we can get the word out a little bit more.
Yeah, I think
families.
the portion around Suffolk sometimes gets lost, I think, in translation of what the program can really mean to a student's future. And especially with cost of college and, graduation outcomes that we continue to look at. I just think it would be great to keep that emphasized. Thanks.
If a parent wanted to access the list of the Beacon courses, where would they find that?
They're in the course offering book for the high
Yeah,
school.
okay.
And if they look at, for each course, throughout the course book, for any course that is dual enrollment, in other words, where it can get college credit, the majority do come through the Beacon program or Suffolk Community, but we also have dual enrollment courses through Stony Brook, through Long Island University, and through, I believe, Farmingdale.
Oh, neat.
So we've really been working quite diligently the last few years, part of the strategic plan, to really expand the course options and opportunities. Now we have courses in just about every subject area, that there are some courses in each subject area that have the opportunity for students to get college credit while completing the course here and getting high school credit as well.
Yeah, I think it's a great partnership. I applaud the effort, and I hope that parents and students take advantage of it. because I think it is a great program.
Agreed.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Welcome.
Any other discussion?
Mm-mm.
Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting? Tom, second Rob, all in favor? 6-0. Okay, here's the earlier one.
Tom, where is that? Where is that? Is that on?